We always try to make sure that all real estate agents are licensed real estate agents, because if not, they're not really real estate agents. If they have not been through the program, how can they really help their client?
In AMPI, if you're a developer and you want to present your development with AMPI, we have a set of rules and a fact sheet that if you don't accomplish with that fact sheet 100%, not 99, not 90, 100%, you cannot present the project with us. And it's as simple as having a license, which a lot of the pre-construction nowadays, there are some projects that they go into the market without a license. That might be a little bit risky, but at the end of the day, some people decide to do it. That's okay by them. If they want to learn in the hard way, it's okay. But at the end of the day, I always try to minimize all the risk to my clients.
Hey guys, I'm Raul Morales, founder and CEO of Mycasa Real Estate, and this is our second podcast, and today we're going to be talking about the Mexican National Association of Realtors and what it can do for you. And Charles is the ex-vice president of AMPI. Charles, thanks for coming on.
No, thank you, Raul. And we also have ex-vice president of communications of AMPI, Raul Morales, too.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. And you also work here with me at Mycasa as a buyer's representative.
That's
You're
right.
one of my best, and thank you for all the good work you do for our clients.
No, it is my pleasure, and thank you for inviting me to this podcast that I'm very, very excited to share.
Great. Well, since you had a higher position than I did at AMPI, which is the Mexican National Association of Realtors, can you tell us a little bit more about it?
Of course, and it's important. It's not something it's higher or lower ranking. It's just different positions and different responsibilities. In my case, I was responsible to organize the events that we do yearly here in Playa del Carmen, to direct it to all the realtors in order to professionalize the industry. And that will be probably what, in a nutshell, AMPI is. Professionalize the industry and put it always in the best level possible.
Exactly. I mean, I love what AMPI does, especially with the licensing program. We always try to make sure that all real estate agents are licensed real estate agents, because if not, they're not really real estate agents. If they have not been through the program or have not taken the time to take real estate classes and know all that very important information, how can they really help their client? So, I mean, can you tell us a little bit more about what AMPI offers?
Of course. Well, first of all, as you mentioned, it's like going with a doctor, and then you have something you don't feel very good, and then you go with a licensed doctor and they tell you what do you have. Would you go with someone that is probably studying in the medical school? Or not only that, he wants to be a doctor, but he's not yet, but he can give you a prescription. Will you take it?
Your waiter. Let's say he's your waiter.
And unfortunately, nothing against waiters, nothing against taxi drivers, but at the end of the day, there's a lot of people in the industry that, oh, I'm a realtor and I'm a waiter at this restaurant. I'm a realtor and I'm a taxi driver during the day. I'm a realtor, and if you have two professions at the same time fully, probably you're not that professional on what you're doing. And we're talking about the money of the people that probably they've been gathering that money and saving that money for a special occasion to maximize that money and make it more, not to put it on a risk. So it's very important to be close to someone that is enrolled in an association. Of course, AMPI being the best one of all, the one that has over 67 years of experience, more than 85 sections in Mexico, and in more than 14 different regions. So we pretty much cover all the country in everywhere. And the most important thing, we always lobby to get laws in favor of the consumers, in favor of the people that it's investing. But at the end of the day, it's not like the US that you have an MLS system, that everything is fast. You can see all the information there. What was the price that property was sold in the first place, and then the second owner and the third owner. We don't have that in Mexico. And that's one of the main things AMPI also wants to provide for everyone in the future. It's doing step by step, but we're going in a good direction.
Yeah, AMPI provides so many services, and to us real estate agents, advisors, and representatives, and it's just, I get this all the time. I have American or Canadian clients come in and they don't even ask if I have my real estate license, and I'm like, what? I mean, would you do that in the United States? Would you put, a $300, $400, $500,000 of your hard-earned money with somebody that isn't professional, that maybe is just a salesperson, that maybe knows sales tactics and stuff like that, but doesn't really have the core knowledge to be a real estate advisor. So I always tell my clients, ask if they are licensed real estate advisors. And you're absolutely right on that. And all the other things that they do, I mean, the education that AMPI provides is continual. We have access to better information than anybody. Statistics about, is tourism going up? Is it going down? During what season? What are prices going for? How many pre-construction developments are there in this region? There's just a litany of information that is very useful for us as advisors, that we come together and share with each other, and that we get from one another or from professionals that AMPI has come in and present these statistics. We always have these statistics people. They're kind of nerdy and stuff, but they give us such great information. The other day, I was looking at, they showed us a map of, I think, Miami. And then they showed a map of here and the carbon footprint here. And, we're like this big. And the reason they were comparing it is because there's 102 kilometers of Miami beachfront, and we have about 107 kilometers here in the Riviera Maya, from Puerto Morelos to Tulum, more or less. And you could see how much more growth there's going to be here. Miami's like, this big, and over here there's just a few dots and it's all this green. And in 100 years, I mean, this is going to be the size of Miami. I mean, it's going to have a very different look and feel and all that, but there's going to be people purchasing that are going to be like, oh my God, you're 20 blocks away from the beach? That is amazing. You must be a millionaire or something. But right now, you can get something for a couple $100,000 just a few blocks from the beach, which is an amazing information to have. And thank you so much for taking part in AMPI. I did it as well. It's a labor of love. I mean,
Completely.
We don't get paid for it,
Nope.
or anything like that, but it's just something we really like to do. And I continue to give back. I'm actually giving classes to the new real estate agents that are looking to get licensed. I teach them about negotiations, because it's one of my favorite things to do. I love negotiations. When I get pissed off, I take off my shoe and I start banging on the table. No, I'm kidding. But there's all sorts of things that you can do when you have information on your side, and that's what I have. And another advantage that I've seen is that if developers are going to do anybody a favor, who's it going to be, Charles?
The developers, they should do a favor to the industry. They should do a favor to all the clients. But at the end of the day, it's not doing a favor. It's doing a favor to themselves, because they need to improve in a lot of things. And that's one of the things that also AMPI does. AMPI gets in touch with all of these developers and share all of these different feelings what the clients might have in some points. And at the end of the day, being close to both parties is very important to create a better destination for the future. Because if we only focus on what the developer wants, well, we might be in a completely different stage. If we only take care of what the client wants, well, that's something that sometimes it's not doable. So we have to combine both things and put them on the table and create a better destination for all.
That's a very good point. Thank you for bringing that up. I was actually talking about, I've seen developers do me a favor because I was part of the committee. I was vice president of communications. So, when I'm asking for a heavy discount for a client that really, really needs it, I'm a good horse trader. I like to tell them, hey, maybe I can do a little video about your development, give you some free advertisement if you can get us what we want. But a lot of times, they want to do us a favor because they know that we're in communication with all the other brokers in the region. So there's so much we can do for them that they look at us as key allies, or at least they try to wine and dine me and stuff like that. But you brought up a very good point about what AMPI does with developers. One of the things that I really love that AMPI did, since years ago, is ask the developer, what kind of water treatment do you have? What kind of sustainability are you providing? Is it
Well,
real?
just to make a quick interruption, but what you're saying in AMPI, if you're a developer and you want to present your development with AMPI, we have a set of rules and a fact sheet that if you don't accomplish with that fact sheet 100%, not 99, not 90, 100%, you cannot present the project with us. And it's as simple as having a license, which a lot of the pre-construction nowadays, there are some projects that they go into the market without a license. That might be a little bit risky, but at the end of the day, some people decide to do it. That's okay by them. If they want to learn in the hard way, it's okay. But at the end of the day, I always try to minimize all the risk to my clients.
At least that they know what they're getting themselves into.
Exactly.
I mean, basically what we do is we give accurate expectations to where we can be friends with our clients for the rest of their lives, because we are constantly being truthful and honest, and the expectations they have are correct. We're not going to tell them, hey, you're going to make $1 million, renting this out. No, we're going to give you a real number, a true range. And in a couple of years, you're going to say, hey, you know what? You were right. It is within this range. Thank you very much. Can I bring some friends to you? Of course you can. We're always looking for that referral. In real estate, you only have your reputation. And one of the best ways to guard that reputation is educating yourself, going with a real estate agent, not with a real estate association, a nonprofit like AMPI, which is also married to the National Association of Realtors back in the United States. Can you tell us a little bit more about that?
Of course, it's the only association in Mexico married with it, because we are now in the 21st century and you can marry sometimes a lot of people. Well, in this case, we are monogamous completely. So both AMPI and NAR are married to each other, and NAR it's not married to any other association in Mexico, and AMPI it's not married to any other association in the US. So that's very important, and they've been married for quite a few years already, and there's a lot of education that we do between both associations. So sometimes people from NAR comes here and teaches some stuff, and the same thing with us going up there. And not only that, but also creating a network of developers, of realtors between both countries. So the relationship is very, very close, and I'm sure it will be closer with the time.
I'm glad you brought that up about the education. For those of you that don't know, in the United States, there is the National Association of Realtors. If you're working with them, you're with a licensed real estate agent that is looking out for your interests, not just theirs, not just somebody else's. They are professionals that know their industry and guard their reputation very well. So what we mean by marriage is that we have these agreements between us where they come in, the National Association of Realtors in the United States, come here and train us. And I took the 2 classes that they give, which is the NAR Certified International Property Specialist, which teaches you all the different laws and differences that there are in different countries, and how to guard foreigners when they're purchasing in another country. And then there's the Accredited Buyers Representative designation by the National Association of Realtors in the United States. Dr. Richard Miranda comes in. I know him very well, and he's from the Houston chapter of the NAR, and he gives very good classes here. He's a very close friend of mine, and a very interesting class about how to really do the best that you can for your client, especially in this region that there's no multiple listing service. We have ways of finding out what the last unit sold for, but the people that don't know that are just the salespeople. If somebody tells you, oh, I don't have that information and I can't get it for you either, it's because they didn't go to school for this. It's because they're not really real estate professionals. So
in order to get your first license, you have a lot of subjects of 90 hours of a diploma that you are about 3 to 4 months, depending where you take it. And then they teach you about laws, they teach you about the land in general, about sales, about marketing, about accountability, about management, about many, many things that are very important to know. You're not going to be the expert in all of those fields, but as a real estate agent, you need to know a little bit, at least a little bit, about all of these things around, because then the person that is going to buy the property from you, eventually they might sell it, and if they might sell it, they might have to pay taxes. And if you don't know all of those little things and how much taxes are they gonna pay, when are they gonna pay it, if they can have a strategy to pay less or probably not to pay anything, depending on many, many factors around, if you're a national or not, if you're a permanent resident, a temporary resident, if you need to deal with laws, if you can have an investor's visa so you can speed up the process of becoming a national. So there are many, many things that number one will give you the knowledge of studying in something, and number two, the experience. And then when you have a license, it's like, okay, I have the license, done. No, you have to renew it every single year. Why? Because every year you need to prove that you update your knowledge, because laws are updated, things change, and that's the norm in the world and the norm in life. Everything changes constantly. So if you study something, probably in 1 year it's obsolete, or in 2 years, or in 6 months. How do you know that the information you have is the most current information? Keep studying.
Exactly, and that's why I love working with you. I think we both have this passion about doing things right. We're going to be doing this for the rest of our lives. Our clients are like our family. I mean, I know you're the same way too. I still talk to my first client. I still talk to my second. I mean, we still go out with them, and it's just about changing things here in Mexico, because you can get into a lot of trouble if you don't choose the right real estate agency and the right real estate agent particularly. What are some of the troubles that people can get into if they don't go with the right licensed real estate agent?
Well, let's say that you're looking for a property, and then a lot of the people say, hey, a lot of people look in Facebook Marketplace. Perfect. Go and look in Facebook Marketplace, whatever you want. But guess what? Anyone can post anything there. And anyone can erase their content whenever they want, can erase their own profile if they want. So I'm not saying don't look in Facebook Marketplace. I always say double check. Whatever you find here, double check in AMPI, double check in an association, double check with a colleague in the industry, but someone that is fully working on this, because there are these crazy numbers that in the Mayan Riviera, there are over 30,000 people working on this. But how many of these are committed? How many of these have a license?
Exactly.
So the funnel goes smaller and smaller. And at the end of the day, it's the same thing. It happens with properties. When a client asks me for properties, they tell me, hey, send me everything you have. It's not a matter of sending everything I have. It's a matter of sending the right one for you. Because the right one for you might not be the right one for the other person. And that's important. When you get to know a salesperson, they will always tell you, yes, this is the one for you, even though it's not. A real advisor will tell you, this is not for you, or this is not the right moment. You should wait more. Exactly.
They're not just, I've said so many times to my clients, I've looked at their finances and I'd say, you know what, it's not the right time to buy. You're going to be stressed out. You need this rental income to live. You don't want that on you and your family. And I told them, hey, come back to me in a year and I'll keep you updated with our newsletter. But a salesperson will never tell you that. They'll try to sell you anything. So be very, very careful with that. This is for our clients, our buyers in the US and Canada mostly, and Europe, obviously.
Of course.
But I really appreciate all this information, Charles, and that's why I love working with you. You're a professional like I am, and really passionate about improving the industry here. So thank you very much for coming on. This is our second podcast about the AMPI Association, which is the Mexican version of the National Association of Realtors here in Mexico. And thank you very much again.
Thank you so much for inviting me, and let's be neighbors soon.
Remember, let's be neighbors soon.